I just wanted to join you really quickly this morning to tell you about one of the hymns we'll be singing this coming Sunday. It is Stand Up for Jesus. So a quick story about that tune. It was written by Dr. George Duffield in the mid-1800s in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we have an American author, and he was inspired to write the words, the text that we know as Stand Up for Jesus, after attending the funeral of a dear friend of his. And that dear friend was Dudley Tyng, who tragically died at a young age. And Tyng and Duffield, they knew each other. They were both passionate about our Lord. They were preachers. Now Tyng, he was on a mission to preach the gospel specifically to the men that were coming to the new YMCA. That was new to America, the YMCA. And so he had a fertile ground there of men to just preach the gospel to, and that was his passion. He is quoted as having said, "I would rather that my right arm were amputated at the trunk than that I should come short of my duty to you in delivering God's message." So that's how passionate he felt about getting the Bible right, sharing God's words with all of the men that he could touch. And so tragically, those words were prophetic in that he actually did have his right arm amputated. A few years later, he was in an awful accident. He was petting a donkey or a mule, and his sleeve got caught in a machine that was next to that mule that was in the process of shucking corn. And so it pulled his arm down into the shucker, and it severed a main artery. And as a result, they had to amputate the arm. And then sadly, 4 days later, he died. He did not survive that awful injury. Hence the funeral, and then that's the funeral that Dr. George Duffield attended. And it is said that Tyng's last dying words to his father were, "Stand up for Jesus, Father, and tell my brethren of the ministry to stand up for Jesus." And so after hearing this, probably at the funeral, Dr. Duffield then went to preach his sermon the following Sunday, and he chose to preach it on Ephesians 6:14. And that reads, "Stand firm with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place." So he preaches his sermon on Ephesians 6:14, and then Duffield closes the sermon with the poem that he wrote for his dear friend. And that poem is the text for Stand Up for Jesus. So as you sing it this Sunday, pay close attention to verse 3 and understand where it came from, how it was inspired, and why it was written. And remember the fellow, Dudley Tyng, that had such a passion for Christ. Bye-bye. See you on Sunday.